If you're listening to this, you're ready. Ready to join the industrial intelligence generation. A generation defined not by age, but by a shared mindset to connect teams, accelerate efficiency, and drive innovation. Using the power of Aviva software to reshape industries, turning real-time insights into real-world growth. Discover our stories at industrialintelligence.com. Join Generation I.
Walmart Business is in the business of helping your business. Regardless of whether you're building bridges, building spreadsheets, or building lesson plans. Ooh, that looks fun. Walmart Business can help save you time, money, and hassle so you can focus on what you're building instead of what your supply closet is missing. In short, we take care of business so you can do more with yours. We're the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill, too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Welcome to the Great Coaches Podcast.
To me, being perfect is not about that scoreboard out there.
This is a chance of a lifetime.
When you can understand the person, you can then work towards a common goal.
We are all on the same team.
Know your role and do it to the best of your ability.
Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again.
Your defense has got to be better.
Leave no doubt tonight.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
My name is Jim Wolfrey, and you're listening to the Great Coaches Podcast, where we explore leadership through the lens of elite sport by interviewing great coaches to try and find ideas to help all of us lead our teams better. Our great coach on this episode is Dorette Badenhorst. Dorette is the head coach of the South African Netball team, the SPAR Proteas. She started her coaching journey at 13 years old, coaching grassroots tennis with her father. Whilst working as a teacher at Auckland Park Primary School, she started coaching the school's netball teams. Whilst at university, she was selected to play for the South African under-21 team. However, after sustaining a number of injuries, the door opened for her to coach Varsity Netball. In 2012, she was appointed head coach of Northwest University, winning the Varsity Netball title back-to-back in 2015 and 2016. In 2017, NWU won the USSA tournament. Dorette has coached both the South Africa under-19 and under-21 team. She was part of the coaching technical team as an assistant coach under Norma Plummer, where South Africa placed 4th in the 2019 Netball World Cup. She was appointed to the head coach role of the South African national team in October 2019. Dorette is a coach with high expectations, but the empathy and energy to work together with her athletes to help achieve them. She believes that hard work and dedication make a difference to how you use your talent. And in this episode, she shares her experiences in helping grow the Proteas on the world stage. The elements of the interview that spoke the most to me were, as a leader, there is a small but important difference between being the athlete's friend and coach, but the difference is an important one, and you have to manage it carefully if you're to be effective. The difference between pressure at the national and international level and the way some players can cope with it better, and the role that positivity and belief play in building culture within a team. This is a wonderful conversation, and I hope you enjoy it as much as Paul and I did.
The Great Coaches Podcast.
Good morning, Dorette Badenhorst, and welcome to the Great Coaches Podcast.
Good morning.
Thank you for making your time available to speak with me today. It's a real pleasure to chat with you. But before we do that, can I just start by asking, where are you in the world and what have you been up to this week?
I'm in Johannesburg. I'm staying here. just busy with a lot of webinars, Zoom meetings. We're planning and we're changing again, and then we plan again. So things are changing the whole time. But keeping myself busy with more admin stuff on the coaching side and not really on court at this stage.
Yeah, the environment that we're all living through at the moment is creating these new ways to connect and these new ways to communicate. And I'm sure that's been quite different in the sports environment for you. How have you found these moments?
In the beginning, it was actually fine to have a little bit of rest time because we had really a hectic program coming back from England of the Vitality Series, and then I went immediately into development and also in high performance programs, helping school coaches and also high performance coaches throughout the country. So I traveled a lot, and then everything stopped. So a bit difficult to connect with our players because we only new in the coaching and we haven't had really a chance to meet our players or the bigger group yet, because immediately after being announced as coaches, we went into the Africa Cup and then into the England Test Series here in South Africa, and then going to England for the Vitality Series. So for me, it was quite disappointing not to have my training camp that I was supposed to have in April.
You have had an impressive career and journey as a coach and have worked with some of the great coaching names in the world of netball. Marlene Wagner, Elise Koitzer, New Zealand's Lynn Gunson, Australians Jill McIntosh, and most recently, Norma Plummer. What has working with these great coaches taught you?
I've learned a lot from every coach, and every coach is different. And it's very important that you need to take something from a coach, but don't change what you believe in. So for me, how I coached 20 years ago is definitely different from how I'm coaching now. And you as a coach are growing through all these experiences. And I think it's just great having this opportunity to learn. And Netball South Africa gave it to me from a very young age, actually, because I started coaching at SA in the 19s. And at the end of the day, you learn from every coach you come across. So at one stage, I went to England for 10 days and we worked with Lynn Gunson there. There's so many coaches. I actually, as a very, very young coach, I worked for Elise Koitzer on her a farm where she did coaching there. And every Friday after school, I went there until Sunday and I coached. And that is just the passion that I have for coaching and learning from every coach. And you can take something good and you can take something that you need to change from every coach. And that is the main thing. You shouldn't be that coach. You need to stand in your own shoes. But you can learn a lot from these coaches.
Dorette, your dad is also a coach, and you've said that he was your inspiration to be a coach. What was it about his coaching that did that for you?
Yeah, I grew up in a home where family is very important. So my dad is a person that he's for people. He just loves to be between people. He loves his sport. He loves his coaching. And from a very young age, I coached tennis with him. And he was a coach that actually started helping the beginners. And when they were at a certain stage, he will send them to better coaches or coaches that will work with the more experienced players. And for some reason, my dad always gave me the beginner players. And I just enjoyed seeing the change that you can make in that player from a very, very young age. And my dad was just that motivation for me. And sometimes you think, no, I'm too busy at school, I'm too busy with this. And he will say, if you start something, you will finish and that. And I've always learned from my dad that with sport, your name is so important. You can't, if you do something and that is bad against your name, that will go forever with you. But with sport and my dad, I just realized that people is important. It's not about me. It's what I can do for other people to change and give them opportunity to develop their potential. And sometimes it was a kid that will only hit the ball once that afternoon. And it will be great for that player. But you need to realize what the goals of each player is and what they want to achieve. And then you help them to achieve that, because not everyone wants to become Protea players.
This ability to help a young person unlock their potential is something I'd like to explore a little bit further with you, especially your transition into becoming a netball coach. You were a school teacher, you coached school netball, then varsity netball, and now netball at the elite international level. You've also spoken often about the lessons being a teacher has given you. And so my question is, how have these lessons helped you on your coaching journey?
I think it's very important that you should realize as a coach and being a teacher, a coach is not only a coach. You're a teacher, you psychologist, you the mom there, you the supporter. You sometimes when they go through difficult situations, you the person that should help them. You teach them what is discipline. You teach them how to do time management. So as a teacher, and I wasn't at a school that was very privileged, so we worked with players that were coming from our area around the school. I didn't buy or gave bursaries to players to come to my school, but I realized that in every school there's talent. And what you're going to do with that talent, because when I started there, netball was like one team. They didn't really play in a league. They was actually more a technical boys' school, and with a few netball players and girls in the school. And it changed. And I stayed for 13 years at this school. And I got a lot of opportunities to go to the famous schools, but I decided God placed me at this spot and I have to work here. And you as a coach need to realize that sometimes it's not an easy job to coach. You need to actually give a player opportunity to improve their talent. There's talent out there, but you need to coach. And sometimes it's really hard work. But what I realized from teaching is you are there for that player, and there's such a small difference in being that player's friend and being their coach, because that line is so important. And for me, I've got my space around me. I'm not a very huggy type of person, but it's very important that throughout the class situation and everywhere, that player and learner needs to know that you're there for them and you will help them to become that next level player. And with school and being in the school system, I just enjoy teaching because you're so much closer to the players, you know them, they've got confidence. But I was a very strict teacher, so the boys always thought the girls, how can you like this coach? Because when they got into my class, I was a young teacher, it was matric boys, and you need to have that discipline. So I actually enjoyed the teaching really a lot. And I think with the discipline in my class, you create respect between players and you as coach. And I think that is a very important thing.
I've often heard you speak in interviews about the belief the South African netball team has built itself on. You've used the phrase, when we fall, we rise again. And so how would you describe your coaching philosophy?
Yeah, my philosophy about coaching is first that it's not about you, it's about the player. And for me, I want to give every person out there the opportunity to become the best that they can be. It's not about your circumstances. It's nothing about where you grow up, if you're rich or if you're poor. If you've got talent, you need to get the opportunity to develop that talent, to become the best that you can be. And it's not always the talented players that come and goes through and become the best players, but it's those players that's dedicated. So for my philosophy is just to go out there and be really a coach that is there for players, and it's not about me. I don't want to get the credit. I will take the blame for a lot of things that will go wrong, but I want to give that players the best opportunity. And I will work really hard for that, because I don't think there's an easy road to success.
I'm interested if there are any non-negotiable areas in there for you.
Oh, discipline, never be late. And my players will know I will leave them at the hotel if they're late. So for me, that is where everything starts. Respect start for me there, because if you have respect for me and I have respect for you, I won't be late for a training session, so you won't be late to get on the bus going for a training session or late for my session and when you come from home. So for me, that is really a crucial thing. My players will know that if I say we will start at 9, they will be there 10 minutes before. So that is the first thing that I believe in is discipline, and also discipline on court, discipline off court, and respect. Yeah, that is a huge thing, especially with all the cultures that we've got around us. If you don't have respect for each other, you will never have a culture in your team that you can actually grow as a team.
I'd like to come back to your comments about the diversity of your team a little later, but I'm wondering if you could share a little more about how you brought this philosophy to life in the squad. And I'm asking because you took over from an iconic coach in Norma Plummer. How have you been able to find that line between the development of the past, but also re-energizing the team to look forward under your leadership?
Yeah, I was in a great position in the sense of 2016, Netball South Africa decided to identify a few coaches, and we got turns to work with Plum and Nick. And we also went to all the training camps in South Africa. They weren't a lot, but the few that we had in South Africa, we were allowed to join them in the sessions. And the year, starting January, Netball South Africa actually announced me as the South African coach, because Plum they were all in Australia, and we had a few players in South Africa and some in Australia and 1 or 2 in England. And at that stage, I already took over the responsibility of training all the players in South Africa, because Plum didn't come to South Africa in 2019, the beginning of the year, because we met in Wales for the World Cup. So it was my responsibility to train those players. And we also played as a team in the TNL, our Telkom Netball League. And we grew that, and it was not only the Protea team, we had number 16, 17, 18 in our group also working with me. I went to them, I trained them. I had a lot of sessions with the players in South Africa. So when we went to Wales to meet the players coming from Australia and us from this side, then I actually worked a lot with those players already. So when I took over from Plum, it was a difficult situation, because remember, I lost 2 players that retired, Mareike Holzhausen and Erin Berger, that were both starting lineups, and Pumza and Carla wasn't available for that Africa Cup. We went in to play Malawi and Uganda that played with 90% of the players that went to World Cup. So that was a huge challenge for me, and not being able to select new players really. I didn't have a camp. We just went in a week before Africa Cup started. And I just realized that there's nothing needs to change, because this group of players, yes, we brought in 2 or 3 players, but most of those players worked with me and worked with Plum. And luckily, most of these players played for me, either SA Under-19, SA Under-21, or SA Universities. So they knew me, they knew Dumi. So it was quite easy to build on the trust that was already there. And they believed in me, and they never thought of that we want Plum back. So everything was quite easy going through. For me, it's difficult because, like you said, Plum is a great coach, and you don't want to disappoint, but you want to move forward. And you don't want to just stay on the things what was important for Plum, but you also need to bring in your style and what you believe in. And I think it really went well with Bongi as my captain. She's just an amazing person. And the support, the way we work together, our leadership group with management is just so important. And we've learned that from Plum, and bringing that leadership group in, Bongi really helped us a lot in that sense.
You mentioned in there losing some of the experience in the squad, which would mean that other players would now need to take on or step up into a leadership role or take on more senior leadership responsibilities. And so my question is on developing players for those through mental toughness. And not that long ago, the squad went through a mental toughness workshop. And so my question is, how is mental development evolving the role of a coach?
Yeah, for me, even in that first Africa Cup, the first tournament that we came in, I had a sports psychologist that came in to help us with our team. For me, when it comes to mental toughness, I believe that playing at international level is so different from playing in our national league in South Africa. The players that's playing currently in Australia and in England, they're playing against the best in the world. So the more they play against these players, the more they get confidence. And when they go on court, they believe that they are also good enough. But the problem in South Africa is we don't give enough players opportunity to participate at the international level. So for me as a coach, it's very important that we start giving that next level of players also opportunity to play at international level, that they can experience that type of tension, stress that you will have when you go on court, because it's different. The pressure is so much more. You've got millions of people watching. There's no easy game. And remember, all our games that we played so far are ranking games. So it's not easy to give your second lineup a chance to play, because it's all about ranking points and you want to win this game. So you need to give more opportunity to these players, because if they're not going to play more at international level, we will never know, is this player a type of player that can cope at international level or not? And will she be able to maybe with more opportunities become better and better? Because I saw players that's brilliant at a national level, at our national champs. But as soon as they go onto the international platform, they collapse. They can't take that pressure. That is the biggest problem at this stage. Mental toughness is, we're not going to get those players tough enough to participate international level if we're not going to give them experience at that level. And I want to change that, because if you look at the SPAR Protea team, you've got 7-8 players that in the past 4 years really had enough game time at international level. The others were on the bench, and yes, some players learn from the bench, others just don't like to be on the bench. And at the end of the day, if we can give those players more opportunity to learn and get that international experience, then we will see how they can take pressure. But for me as a new coach, now to bring in someone new and just hope she's going to cope at that level. I knew Lefebvre, I brought her into Marijke's place. I knew Lefebvre because she was part of my SA 21 squad. She, like Ziggy, lost out because of injuries and didn't go to the World Youth. But, Lefebvre is that type of personality that sometimes it's a problem because she's a perfectionist. Everything must go 100%. But at least she's very disciplined. And I know if I tell her, listen, we need to work on a shooting average of a 90-95%, that will be her goal. And it's easier to coach a player like that. But there's so much talent out there. And I take a player like Bongo, that played for me at under 21 level. She needs discipline. She's got the talent. She's got everything, but she don't have the discipline. So the more you're going to give these players opportunity and experience at the international level, you will see what you need to change in players and how can you develop these players, because every player in that SPAR Protea team are different.
Hi friends, Sean Linda from Two Black Guys with Good Credit here. Whether you're running a nonprofit, a school, or a small business, Walmart Business is here to support your mission. They make it easy to order what you need, from tech and cleaning supplies to everyday essentials, all at low prices and with helpful tools like spend, tracking, and tax-exempt purchasing for eligible organizations. Because when your operations are smooth, your impact can be bigger. Visit business.walmart.com to get started.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I ordered the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Score a 2 for $5 deal on a sausage McMuffin with egg and more. Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Dorette, if I can build on this mental toughness theme a little bit further with you, the result of a game of netball can come down to very small margins. The chance for South Africa to play in the 2019 World Cup final came down to just 2 points. So my question is, how best can a coach approach shifting player mindset that these higher ranking teams are beatable?
Yeah, that is, I think, one of our problems at this stage. And you as a coach need to make sure that your team, if they need to get out of that. At one stage, I coached my university team, and every year we will lose by 1, by 2, and we just couldn't break through. And, you want to blame the umpires, you want to blame this, and you want to blame that. Then you decide, listen, we need to make a change in how we're thinking. Because if you're going to keep on thinking that we don't get players like the other teams in the sense of the quality type of players, we need to actually work so much harder when it comes to coaching. If you start looking at those things, it's wrong. You need to decide, I'm going to take on this challenge, and you need to start have a winning culture in your team. If the moment you change that, you talk positive, that you actually speak that win onto your team, that is when you start going through that. Because as soon as they're worried about losing and they think about losing, they're going to lose. So that is the problem in South Africa. And sometimes we have that culture of we feel sorry for ourselves. We don't have the opportunities like Australia, New Zealand, and England. We're not professional. We're not this. We don't get the same amount of time together with our team like other teams will get, and things like that. And we need to change that attitude. We need to go in and believe that we can win. And as soon as you start believing in that, and you give your players that confidence that you're good enough to play against the best in the world, then you will start winning. But if you focus on the wrong things and you focus on the negative things, then you will never be there at the top.
In preparation for today, I watched a press conference you gave, and it was one of the last questions from that media group that I saw you really light up. The question that was asked isn't something I want to explore, but how you responded is. You talked about culture and accountability. As a coach, trying to improve a team's culture and accountability, what is your advice to other coaches on what they should be doing?
I think it's very important when it comes to culture that you involve your team. It's not a management decision. If you're going to start to say to the players, this is our values, this is important for the team, this is how it's going to happen, you will never get results. So a team culture starts at the team with management sitting together and deciding what is important, what protocol we're going to follow, what will make you happy in this team. And like we did in our team, and Plum played a big role in this, we said, but we need to make sure that we know exactly what is important for these players. It's not what's important for me, it's what is important for the players. And if we can have a happy family and we can respect each other and what is important for each other, then we can have a great culture in our team. And respect, especially because we are different in our team. Accountability for me, very, very important, because we at some stage in our netball in South Africa, it was just fine if you lose a ball. It's fine if there's a bad pass. And what I realized a lot becoming a national coach, that margin between winning and losing is all about that one or two bad passes. It's that one center pass that you've lost that will be the result at the end of the day. And players need to know that mistakes happen, yes, and we can immediately adapt and we go for onto defense. But we also need to take accountability on what is important with the ball in hand. So for me now, when I go to all the different coaches in the country, I really want to emphasize coaches that what is your turnovers against? What is your possession lost? What is your possession gains? Because that is the difference between the two, three top teams in the world at this stage. And when I got my SA Under 21 team before World Youth, we were on 50, 55 possession losses, turnovers against us in a game, but our defense must turn. Our defense were always that they were the group of players that needs to change a team's results. And that won't work at international level. And that is the change that we need to make from playing at national in South Africa and playing international level. That margin for mistakes is so small. And for me, accountability on court, but also accountability off court. When this team wants to win, it's about 12 players. Against Jamaica, this combination will work. But against Australia, that won't work. So the next lineup will be important. If that is not important for you to be part of that 12, then you've got a problem in your team. So for me, that whole team effort is very important. And that's a thing that I want to emphasize in my team. For everyone is important, and everyone should take accountability, even if you weren't on court at that specific game.
Dorette, you spoke then about the team combinations and selection choices you have made for games. Finding that right balance in a team as a coach is never easy. Selection decisions need to be made, as well as decisions on how much game time a player gets. There are times where players aren't always able to see that bigger picture of when these decisions are made or when they are being made. And sometimes they react, many not so well. So what I would like to explore with you is this area of disruptive influence. How have you, or perhaps more specifically, what is your advice for coaches looking to manage disruptive peer pressure within a team?
That is still, for me, very difficult, I have to say, because in the SPAR Proteas at this stage, you have really a lot of different personalities. So we will have one-on-one meetings with our players to make sure that we know exactly how they feel, what makes them happy, what is disappointing for them. So at this stage, we're trying to get that gap that maybe is there at this stage to really know how players are thinking. Because some players want to, after the game, get immediate feedback. Some just leave me for that moment. So you as a coach needs to know your players and how they react on certain feedback. So for me, it's at this stage really important, and I don't have the time with my team that I want with my team, that I can have more of this. And luckily now in this lockdown time, you can communicate and you can start knowing your players a little bit better, because I think every player is different and the personalities are different, and you can't treat everyone the same. So for me, I think that is the first thing I need to make sure, that I know how to approach every player, because you can't handle or can't treat or can't coach every player the same. For selection for a game, we will bring in our leadership group. For me, it's really important that I want to hear what the players are feeling. And sometimes, like Bungi will say to me, Coach, Romaini said it's a brilliant combination at this stage. I think you need to start with them. And I will say, but give me reasons why. I will challenge them, getting some feedback from them. So the communication in our leadership group, taking it to the players as well, and not only coach decide this is the 7 players going into the first lineup, but actually involving the players as well. We've got a leadership group of about 4 players, and me and the assistant coach, Dumisoni, and then we will make the decision. I need to take the responsibility at the end of the day, and that is why I want to get the feedback from the players and will involve them, but I will make the decision at the end.
Netball at the elite level is a highly energetic and exciting sport to watch. In other sports, like, say, basketball, we actually see coaches almost becoming the extra player on the court, calling the plays, directing the team, and yet the netball games I've watched with you as head coach, you always seem very calm and composed on the sidelines. With all that energy both on and off the court, are there any routines or systems that you use to maintain calmness, either before or during a game?
Yeah, I want to say I look calm, but inside of me, I promise you I'm not calm. Yeah, for me, that is a thing from the moment I started teaching and coaching from a very young age. I like to get feedback from my players, and you won't believe at one stage I didn't say a word next to the court. I will sit in the corner. I'm not the type of person that will scream and shout, and I like to make eye contact sometimes with the player if I want to help them, but I will just sit in the corner and watch. But what I didn't realize is my body language. So say, for instance, there was a bad pass, I will drop my head. And at that stage, a player will immediately look at you. So my player said to me, Coach, we feel like if you drop your head, it's like the world is going to end for us. And at that young age, I realized that however, you need to give feedback, but it's how you do it. And your body language will play a huge role on that bench, because as soon as you negative or aggressive, or you feel like you're losing this game now and you start losing composure and everything, then your team will be very nervous and won't perform. So for me, I'm really trying. I'm not always getting it right, but I'm really trying to take a pen in my hand and write things down rather than trying to shout, because they can't hear you anyway. But immediately when they on the bench give feedback, and not a lot of feedback, that they can concentrate on one or two things. But yes, I try to stay calm. I'm a bit alone at some stage. I just want to be alone on my own, and I will think about everything and how, what game plan we should do and how I should adapt if things aren't going right. So I will play the game through before we start, and I want to be a little bit on my own, just thinking about the game. So I think that's a way. I'm not listening to music or anything like that. I like to just speak to my family before a game, just knowing that I've got their support, because at some stage as a coach, you will think when you go back and you haven't won one of the games, the only people that still love you is your family. But it's a thing that I realized that you need to stay calm next to the court, and I'm trying to, and I'm sometimes doing it wrong in the sense of keeping it inside of me. And you sometimes just need to get on that treadmill and just also run, or get on the bicycle and just cycle, to just get rid of all that stress inside of you, but you shouldn't show it to the players.
I'd like to move back to the topic we touched on earlier with diversity. All South African sports teams have diverse squads. The SPAR Proteas are no different. However, along with cultural diversity, your list also consists of professionals, semi-professionals, full-time students, and players holding down jobs outside of netball. And so my question is, what advice do you have for coaches in managing such diversity in their teams?
Yeah, that is a huge challenge, I want to say, because you've got your players, like you said, that's in a professional situation, and they want to actually come back to the SA team, and you need to work with those players, because they can't expect that everything should be the same as in the teams playing in Australia, because it's not. So it's not only the person that is a student or in a full-time job that needs to adapt, it's also your professional players that needs to adapt. But for me, it's very important that you need to know that you can't, like I said before, you can't treat all your players the same, because all players have different circumstances. You've got your student that have a lot of time that can go anytime, 3 times a day and just go and train. You've got your full-time working players that is going to gym at 4 in the morning to be in time to teach at school, will coach the afternoon. Then after a long day of teaching and working and coaching, they will come to training. And you as a coach need to know how to handle that situations, because not all players will have the same type of energy. They've got kids at home. They've got husbands at home. So it's a difficult situation. I'm not going to say that this is easy, but if you as a team can talk, and a player like a student or a full-time worker can say, but ladies, this is a challenge for me. I can't do X, Y, and Z. And we can also learn from the players that's playing in Australia and England, because we can take a lot of that, and players will bring that to us and say, can't we try this? This is working for us there. Can't we maybe adapt this a little bit to work for our team? So I think, yes, as for a coach, I will adapt by doing maybe individuals with players that is in full-time jobs, working weekends where they are in the work, not able to train. So I will adapt as a coach as well, because you can't just expect the players to always be there, because they will have challenges as players. But I think it's also important to bring in players together, and as a team we work out challenges. And if you have a problem, the communication between players and the management should be so good, because if you're not going to say there's a problem, we won't know it. And I think that is where at this stage we actually at a good place, because our players will know their leadership group is there, and they can speak to the leadership group, and the leadership group knows that anytime they can talk to management and say, oh, this is a problem for us, or this is a challenge for us, and this is something that we want to do that can be positive, and we will then go to Netball South Africa and try and give this to our players. So I think it's all about communication. Our culture is also, like I said, we all different, but if we respect each other and what is important for each other. Pumza had a problem in the test series with her son. Her mom is looking after, her family is looking after her son, and suddenly, the family had problems, and her son is. And we had to arrange a way for Pumza to be with her son for a day. So it's little things, and if you respect each other in that and you can adapt, I think that is very important, because you can't have these rules and only the rules is going to be how we're going to treat players.
Dorette, you've been very generous in speaking with us today. And so this is my last question for you. Whilst I was preparing for this discussion, I found this wonderful quote that you said, "Netball is my life. It's my passion. I just love coaching. I love making a difference in players' lives, giving them an opportunity to be the best they can be." Those are very powerful and really inspiring words. And so my question is, what's the legacy you believe you are leaving as a coach?
My legacy must be that first, I want to give as many players possible opportunity. My plan that I gave to Netball South Africa, I asked for even for a second team to tour internationally and get opportunities. So, they must remember me as a person that was always there to help. I want to be there for coaches. I want to be there for players. And they must remember that not any problem came in the way for me to help players to become the best, and coaches to develop as coaches, because for me it's very important that we develop coaches, because I can't work with all the players in the country. I need coaches to help me develop these players. I want them to remember me as a person that I'm not married, so I think that's the reason why, because I'm always on the netball court and it's always just giving my everything to netball, and my family is supporting me with that. And I just want to leave that legacy of it's hard work, but be there for players, be there for people. It's not about you, it's what you give, it's what you put out there that people will remember you. It's giving everything you should give out there, because then you will learn more and you will never stop learning. So that's I think what legacy I will leave out there. And I want to thank all the coaches that played a role in my life. And Jill McIntosh was the first coach when I started provincial coaching at senior level. She was actually my mentor coach in South Africa, giving me my first feedback. So it's so many coaches that's out there that I've learned from. And I want to actually tell this to the coaches out there: never stop learning. And you can take good and things that you want to change from every coach out there. So it's a process of never stop learning. Because if you think you know everything, you will never be a great coach.
The pursuit to never stop learning is such a great way to finish off. Dorette, it has truly been an honour speaking with you today. And as an Australian sports fan, I have learnt the hard way to never underestimate a South Africa team in any sport. And I'm positive that the SPAR Proteas will challenge the very best in the world leading up to and in the Netball World Cup in 2023. And I can only wish you and the squad every success. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It was great speaking to you.
The Great Coaches Podcast.
Hi everyone, it's Paul here, and you have been listening to our discussion with the head coach of the South African Netball team, Dorette Badenhorst. I hope you enjoyed listening to Dorette's views on the importance of hard work and dedication in fulfilling potential. Towards the end, she says that culture is not a management decision, and this got me thinking about my own team and how we talk about the work environment we want to create, independent of the broader organisational culture. I also enjoyed Dorette's views on the importance of discipline in helping form routines, how she is prepared to take the blame when things don't go well, and the connection between discipline and respect. South Africa is such a proud sporting nation, and you could really feel that energy and pride come through in this interview. In our next episode, we will be speaking to Wimbledon and Roland Garros champion Jan Kodesh.
You know what I like to say by this? I don't like the trainers, because everybody, for example, some players say, I have to have a trainer with me on the circuit because he wake me up in the morning and he push me to go to run. I say, no one is going to wake up Nadal and tell Nadal, you have to go practice and you have to go gym and whatever. You have to have it in yourself, inside. And if you don't have it inside, you never become a champion.
And just before we go, coaches are not usually the type of people who seek the spotlight. And so if you can put us in contact with a great coach that you know has a unique story to share, then we would love to hear from you. You can contact us using the details in the show notes.
Shopping at Burlington feels like a dream come true, and so do the prices.
Gorgeous. Wow, beautiful.
That's really pretty.
Oh, hi. Sorry. I was just imagining all the places I could wear these dresses.
Oh, not a problem. You're just experiencing what it feels like to shop at Burlington. You just had to see it to believe it.
Should I?
Oh, yeah. You have to get that, and this one, too. You know what? Fill up your cart.
At these prices, you can just get them all. Burlington. Deals, brands, wow.